Well, hello and welcome to I Love Gay today. And we're having some fun. We are in the UK today. I believe it's Manchester to be exact. And we're here with Amir Dean, aka Lady Bushra. How are you?
Hello, hi. I'm sorry. I'm very well, thank you. I'm sorry for looking so unkept. I'm in the middle of getting ready for a gig. We were going to do this interview out of drag, I think, and then something came up, and I was like, I don't want to cancel, but I'm going to have to multitask. So here I am, looking weird.
Well, I think this is very cool. I think a lot of folks are often kind of curious, like, what is the process? How do you go from one to the other? But because you look fantastic whenever I see you fully in drag.
Fully in drag. Oh no, thank you so much for that. Yeah, do you know what? Drag is weird because it is ugly right till the last minute. After I'm done, I'm gonna send you a picture, and you're not gonna think that it's the same person because you don't like, especially if you're doing feminine drag. I always say you don't become a woman, you build the woman. Do you know what I mean? So
Right,
like,
right.
it just takes longer. It just takes longer. It's crazy.
Well, selfishly, this is fun for me because even before we talk about the work you do and everything you're doing, it's just that I feel like I know you already because you're so good at really just kind of keeping yourself out there via social media and on all of it, whether that's Twitter and Instagram and TikTok especially as well. And I don't know how you have time to do all that and all these shows on such a full-time basis.
Well, as a budding Gen Z with ADHD, I do get around social media. No I'm kidding. No, I don't know. I just see it as an extension of myself. I think when it comes to social media, I think it's a brilliant place for creatives. It's a great marketplace for creatives. And, I see my responsibility as an artist to be first and foremost an entertainer. So it's just a way to entertain people and get them interested in seeing what I do. And if they like me enough, they'll come to one of my shows. And if they don't, that's absolutely fine. It's a way to be accessible to people and make them laugh. I've had, people message me from all over the world, really, saying, um, we're happy with what you've produced. It's helped us. So yeah, that's the intent behind it anyway.
Yeah. But no, you've got some great programs on a regular basis. You've got a full-time schedule. I know with what is it's called Drag Comedy Cabaret.
Yes, so Drag Comedy Cabaret is my self-produced night that I do every single month in London as well as Manchester. But we're also bringing it to Birmingham. We're taking it to Cardiff once again in Wales. I have brought it as far as Vienna. I've even performed in New York in sort of my comedy cabaret style. So I'm really, really grateful. It's done well with audiences. They find it entertaining. It's basically just an hour and 15 minutes of me being myself and audiences getting to hear about life from the perspective of a British, South Asian, queer drag artist, really.
Yeah, yeah. But between that and then you have something even bigger, right? Because called do I say this right? Sorry About It, your live comedy tour.
Sorry about it. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I'm going on tour this year for the very first time. I'm kind of scared. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, now that it's out there, I'm like, why? Why did I want to do this? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's gonna be comedy meets YouTube meets intrusive thoughts. That's how we're positioning it, and it's gonna be segmented. The joke is that the show hasn't sold well, and so therefore we've had to take on corporate sponsorships. But there's no corporate sponsorships. It's just me dressing up and making adverts and just it's almost like the show is almost going to be like you're watching a YouTube video and it's got a load of funny adverts in it. So that's how I'm sort of doing it. Is very much inspired by sort of like 90s comedy and 90s television right before the digital boom.
Yeah. Which is actually from the outside looking in, from being from the US, I almost look at the work you do as kind of this clever mix of kind of bringing South Asian sensibilities and kind of blending it with British humor, which is almost like what you described from taking some cues from earlier television works and so forth.
Yeah, 100%. I think that when it comes to comedy, as a comedian, I firmly believe that you have to put out something something authentic there. It has to be authentically you. Even if you are like me who plays a character, it has to come from a place of honesty because audiences are smart and they can sniff out a lie and they are going to connect with your vulnerability as well as your honesty. So I try to make sure, whenever I write comedy, I always think, okay, what is your human experience? So, just to make sure that I'm talking from my perspective. Like I could write for somebody else if I wanted to, and I can definitely write in other characters. But when it comes to myself, it has to be from my perspective, and that is a South Asian child from a migrant family who was born in Britain. So it's very much Vicky Pollard goes to Bollywood. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
British, but with strong South Asian sensibilities. And race and what have you aside, audiences have connected with it. And I think that's it's not because I'm amazing or funny or anything like that. I just think it is because people want to hear a different perspective and they want to hear an artist's honesty, really.
yeah. Have you ever had folks from the audience come up to you and tell you you're a role model from the South Asian community?
Yeah, I have, but I tend not to like I don't indulge in that too much because being a role model, as wonderful as it sounds, it doesn't pay the bills. So cool. I'm like, cool, that's great. I did have one bisexual woman start crying once, and that was uncomfortable. I was like, please stop. I'm sorry to have brought you to tears at a comedy cabaret, but please stop.
But you've been doing this for a while, and you even auditioned for RuPaul's Drag Race in the UK, right?
How do you know I auditioned? I
I
don't think
was,
have I ever,
I tell you,
huh?
somewhere in all my stalking of you, I was able to find that.
Well, so strictly speaking, you can't say whether you have or not, but like if you're a drag queen, you have auditioned. I'm sorry, but you have. And if you say that you haven't, you're lying. Yeah, I have. I have in the past. I wasn't successful in getting on the show, but it is a reality TV competition.
Yeah,
So it's got nothing to do with anything besides putting on a great cast. So, if I didn't fit, that's absolutely fine. But I am one of those drag artists who doesn't work with the intention of getting on a TV show. And that's not my goal at all, really.
yeah. Well, as a side note, I do love watching you from a different perspective. You live in Manchester with your husband, also named Amir, slightly different spelling, but
Yes.
you guys do this podcast together, and I will tell I love watching the two of you, and it's just such a different perspective.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, our podcast is called You Don't Love Me, and it's all about life from the perspective of a South Asian married couple. And it's fun. I think it originally started because my husband used to just love to talk, and so we just needed an outlet for him to talk and get progressively drunk. And then after that, we were like, okay, what do we do with it? And we just sort of I think right now we're on a sabbatical. I'm just a little too busy at the moment to carry on, but it's done well. People have resonated with it, and it was just another way to sort of put our voices out there. And yeah, I'm glad audiences have liked it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know here in New York area, you've actually performed here before, and hopefully we'll be able to see you again out this way.
Yeah, I love New York. If I look at sort of a lot of my social media engagement, New York is always on top. It is. I have a bigger audience in New York than I do in England.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it says a lot about England, doesn't it? But no, so yeah, I have performed in New York a couple of times and I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I was at the Lowry Beachman Theatre. So fingers crossed, touch wood, I will be returning again this year. And yeah, it was a really interesting time. When I did that show, I thought about quitting comedy, and it was actually on that day that I decided to keep going. I had um, we had this Bollywood style show booked, and I got there, and I thought maybe audiences want to see more Bollywood from me. Maybe comedy is not the thing. And then the owner started talking to me, and they said this is where Joan Rivers had her residency. And they showed me where she used to get ready, and they called it Joan Rivers Alley or Joan Rivers Way. And I got so emotional that day. I was like, oh, maybe this is a sign. Like I'm in such a comedy place, and I have to honor, one of the greatest comedians in the world by being funny. And it was to this day, it was definitely probably my best show ever.
Wow.
And it was so much fun. I love audiences that are able to laugh and are able to laugh at themselves and not take anything too seriously, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved it, and yeah, I hopefully will be coming back soon.
I love hearing all that. Well, if and when you do, since I live close by, I look forward to being able to to not only attend but connect with you in the real world. It'd be great to meet in person.
Oh, of course, of course. What would you recommend I should do in New York when I come next time? What would
Where
you
do you
recommend?
where do you start? Whether you eat your way through the town or just there's so much to do over there. So we'll talk and we'll figure out some things that can keep you entertained.
Yeah, because like I'm tired of like I've been to New York two, three times now.
Yeah,
And I'm tired of being the tourist. I don't want to be the tourist anymore. I want to know what like New Yorkers do. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Where do New Yorkers go to hang out, and where do they go to watch a show or something like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, oh, you're in good company. I have a Broadway husband and a lover of Broadway, I should say. And so he's always got us on a full schedule every time we go in. So we'll be able to have some good recommendations as well.
Fab, fabulous. Well, I
I
look
love
forward
it.
to
Well, I
it.
look forward. I really appreciate the fact that you're able to take a few moments of your time while you're getting ready to share a bit of your story with our audience and look forward to seeing you soon.
No, thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure. Thank I see you on social media supporting, and thank you so much. And yeah, I shall see you in New York at some point.
Sounds great.
And it
Take
feels
care.
good, so
Bye.
good.